lovely people. So it's been a hot minute, I'm really sorry about that. But today I'm just going to do a real quick review of 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher. So I read this month and I will be doing spoilers and non-spoilers. So I'll do the non-spoiler part first and then I'll let you guys know. So if you haven't read the book, you can run off and watch something else. And if you have read it, you can stay with me and we can have a bit of a chat down in the comments without spoilers. We can have a chat. I'll let you know my thoughts on what some of the more spoilery bits, as well as just letting you know how I felt about the book in general, so you can work out whether to pick it up or not. Okay, so 13 Reasons Why is a contemporary novel about a girl who commits suicide. Now, this goes without saying that there is therefore a huge trigger warning for suicide, self-harm, bullying. I'd say if those three things affect you in any way, I'd say maybe don't read this book. But in saying that, as someone who has personally dealt with things like that in my life, both from other people and myself, I found this book helpful. Those things are not triggering for me. So maybe if you've experienced that but are not triggered by it, I'd highly recommend reading this book. But yeah, just definitely keep that in mind when reading it for yourself and also recommending it to other people. So this book is about Hannah, who committed suicide a couple of weeks prior to when this book is set, and she leaves sort of cassette tapes of 13 reasons why she committed suicide. When I first thought about this, I was like, oh, it's gonna be really shitty. I was really hesitant about picking this book up, but one of my friends who absolutely never reads contemporary has read this book and said she loved it. So I figured that for her to have loved a contemporary book, it has to be good. So I did pick it up, as well as that the TV show is coming out this month, I believe. So I picked it up and I actually really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 5 stars. Since finishing it, I'm considering dropping that down a bit lower, just because I've having seen other people's reviews since finishing it, I have come to see a couple more problems with it, but I still definitely think it's an important book that should be read. I actually, in my review on Goodreads, which I will link down below, I actually said that I think it should be compulsory reading in all high schools, and I will explain why. So yeah, basically throughout these 13 reasons, Hannah uses each reason as a specific person, how they have influenced her life and leading up to her committing suicide. I was not thrilled with this idea, but as I read it, I realized that it wasn't just like, oh, you're a bad person, therefore I killed myself. It was more like each little thing created something else. And you know, when you're dealing with depression or you're going through a bad time, sometimes it can be the tiniest thing that can make a huge difference. And that was really evident in this book, and I think it's a super important message which needs to be promoted, especially for young people, because they don't necessarily think about the effect their actions may have on someone else. And that's why I said that I think it should really be required reading in high schools. I really like our other main character, Clay. So it is told from his perspective. So he is the protagonist, I guess, who is listening to the tapes, and we see the story through his eyes whilst he's listening to Hannah tell the stories on the tape. So there's like a parallel plot line. So we've got Hannah's story and then Clay's story as he's listening to the tapes. So yeah, I found this book really important, and it made me think a lot about certain things. As I said, I've dealt a lot with this personally, not so much me, but just people in my family and my close circle of friends, and so I really understood how important this book was in getting across that message that small things can make a huge difference. So that's really all I can say for the non-spoiler part, but I definitely think that if you, a friend, or anyone else is going through suicidal thoughts or depression and you'd like to better understand that, I think this book would be a really good way of doing that. Again, do remember that I have put out a trigger warning for that. I definitely think it could be harmful if that is something you're triggered by. Okay, so if you haven't read the book, I will see you guys later. Go check out some of my other videos, and I hope you like this, and please subscribe. Thank you very much, lovely people. Bye. So for those of you who are still here, this book was awesome. I really appreciated how the ideas grew on each other. They weren't just sort of like one person is one issue, the next person's another issue. It was chronological, and I really liked how they built off each other. Part of the book that really struck me was, I can't remember the boy's name, but it was toward the middle of the tapes when this one boy wanted to have sex with Hannah, and Hannah like denied him, and then he started taking her little affirmations out of that little bag in her health class, I believe it was, and she basically said at that point in my life I needed as much encouragement I could get to say that other people thought I was a decent person, that other people noticed me, and you took that away. I thought that was so profound because it's so true. Like I said, the smallest things, you know, you may not realize, like, that boy didn't know how Hannah was feeling, but he still took that away from her, and that was one of the huge things that led to her committing suicide. So yeah, I definitely think that it's really important for people to read this book. Now, I do want to point out that having finished this book and thinking about it over the last couple of weeks, I have come to see that Hannah's reasons may not be exceptionally good, and I don't want to offend anyone or belittle the reasons for suicide, because, you know, if someone feels like they want to kill themselves, then I guess any reason is valid. Like, I shouldn't be one to judge why someone else chooses to end their life, but I did find that maybe the message this put through was that if you're feeling shit, it's okay to end your life, and I don't think that's a good message to be portraying. I think that in young adult literature, the message really needs to be of perseverance, of seeking help, etc., and this book did not give that, and I do think that's an issue that cannot be ignored. At the same time, I think through Clay saying, Hannah, like, we were willing to help you, we were willing to help you, you didn't want help, I think that's also important, because so many people who commit suicide or intend to kill themselves, they think there's no help there and they're not willing to seek it out because they feel like they'll be shrugged off and belittled. And so I think that whilst the message of seeking help should have been bigger, at the same time it's important to realize that, you know, it's not always easy for someone to seek help, and therefore if you see someone who you feel might be going through an issue or something big in their life, it is really important to ask them if they're okay. And Clay says that in the book. He says that at that moment he realized something was wrong, but he was too scared to approach her, etc. So I think, yeah, it's definitely important that if you are going through something like this with a friend or a loved one, that you need to help them or seek help yourself if it's you that is going through this issue. Now, I don't really have much more to say than that, other than I really like the book, I love the message, and I found it was really easy to read, it flowed well, and it was fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this book, I hope you pick up the book. If you have read it, let me know below what you think of it, but please don't leave any spoilers. If you do want to leave spoilers, put a spoiler warning, a couple of enter spaces, and then we can talk about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please subscribe, hit the like button, send me a comment, and thank you so much again. Bye bye, lovely people.